Guys, or everybody, welcome back to NZ Motor Auto Conference. This will be part 2 of working on these TAILLIGHT stuff. We should get a test piece of this video. That last video was over 5 hours of footage, crammed into an hour and 5 minutes, whatever it is. So yeah, the plan is now, kind of left off where we finished last night for me, and then I managed to edit it all, or finish editing it all. I want to drill down through where I'll put these holes to put some pins in here, because I do want to put locating pins in this, but I want to drill right through if I can. I think I'm going to end up fouling on this, but if that happens, that happens. I'm not worried about it. We'll just get this out of the road. I'm not too worried about this now. I don't need it. I don't really need it on there now. It was more there to help hold it in the lathe and spin it and whatever. I don't think I need to do any more adjustments to it. It would be nice to keep it there, but I don't think I need to do any more adjustments to this, maybe. We'll see. But yeah, I want to drill these holes right through so I can sit this in here. Again, hold that device. Probably put a clamp on it or something so it doesn't move. And then put the drill at least through to mark it where to put these holes in here, so we can position these, draw these so they are in the exact position that they need to be in, and go from there. good. Clean up there. Sandpaper. And then we can glue these in. Oh, bang, a couple of drops of crazy glue in here. We'll stuck a couple of clamps on it and we'll head around to Dad's. Too much in there. Should be plenty. So that's squeezed out and clamped up for a few minutes. Yep, still going. All right. We'll give that a few minutes to set and then we'll go machine that down to, so it's just slightly deeper than what this is, not by much, so it just gives a little bit of room for the sheet metal. Or aluminium, it's aluminium guys, it's aluminium. I just say it both ways just so I don't confuse anybody. Yeah, right. Okay, while I'm standing here waiting on that to dry, we'll make a clamp to go around the outside of that bastard. Quickly-ish. Alright, we've got a clamp made. I've only got one hole drilled in the meantime. I'll drill another couple on there, another one on each side, and then we'll find something to put through it. but this should be dry enough now, and we'll go and machine this off in the lathe, and then it should be lunchtime. Right, we'll just back ourselves set up here. I just want to try and keep this reasonably short. Just make sure we are reasonably lined up here. It doesn't matter. Make sure we're still fairly true. What we were. Looks pretty good. Righty guys, so I'm just getting through the last of these little pieces to this, I guess. I've got the clamp around here. I've just got one piece of all thread in it with a couple of nuts on it. Just holding the tension, we'll see how that works. If I have to put another one in here, I'll put another one in here. We've got another hole in it, so we can bang another piece of all thread through there with a couple of nuts if we need it. Got these in here. These are flush with the top of this when it's sitting down there with no steel in it. So just 100%. So that lines up there. So I can sit some planners to fit this over the top of my piece of aluminium. Sit that over the top of it. Mark around it and leave a, I don't know, like, I've got to try and guess how much it's going to need to form that shape. It's pressed in. And then I'll sit that over there, mark around it, and we'll just have to test the guess. But what I'll do is I'll probably, when I've got that sitting like that, I'll probably get the drill and drill down in there while I'm holding it, when I've got it marked out roughly where I want it. So when I can come along, I can sit in the piece of aluminium on here. It can't move sideways, buck round, whatever, and then we can come and sit that on there. I need to tweak one of those pieces of rod. It's fucking just not sitting up square. But anyway, I can get on there. A little bit of perseverance. This is not a super precision machine thing. It's one of these ones. It's got a little tweak. So I'm just leaning it in a bit. Just screwing me up a touch. Tweak out. I put a little bit of body filler in there with quite a heavy amount of hardener in it. So that'll should harden up shortly. And then he's pulling in there. Rod wasn't very straight either. Yeah. tweak that. Get on there. Put 10 times off camera it goes on. So anyway, yeah, we can get that all lined up, get a piece of aluminium on there, get that all set up in the press. I think I'm going to put a piece of, get a piece of plate and stick on the top of here, so it's just not pushing in the centre. I'm just trying to work out what I'm going to use there, so it spreads the weight a bit more, so it's not so much the centre piece we're pushing the whole thing, just so it doesn't break this too. Yeah, and we'll just push around and we'll see what happens. And it should form that whole shape in theory. Worst comes to worst, I'll have to cut some of this out. If it won't form it nicely, we might have to trim a little bit of it out around these pieces, but we'll see how we get on. You know, we can only try it. So yeah, we'll get this sort of, that's basically ready to go. You just want to let this harden up a little bit longer, but we'll start making a piece of aluminium. Alright. Down there in squash. But yeah, I think we'll cut this off so it's not trying to suck so much material in. Trim that off. Getting close. Alright. There goes fucking nothing. It's quite nerve wracking. So, just to recap where we are. So I've got the pins in there. That's over the top with the pins in it. I've trimmed it so it's reasonably round. Hopefully I haven't got too much material there to cause problems, but my only issue is it's not terribly warm in here. But hopefully this is enough to stop that wooden butt from breaking. And hopefully this doesn't snap in half, so here we fucking go. Close now. Almost need to make police material. can see on here, I'm not too worried about that, right? Yeah, a little bit less material so I can just push it in a bit harder. But boy, fuck, that is working. But yeah, I think just a little bit, cut it back a bit. So you get a wee bit harder to press in and it's not gathering up so much. You can see that we've got quite a bit too much material in there in places. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Not far off. The other thing too is I just wonder about maybe spraying a bit of CRC or something on there so it'll slip on this surface. Now we'll just put the CRC on the bottom surface. Alright, we'll try this again. I just warmed that up in front of the heater. Put some CRC on here. Made that a bit smaller in diameter. Right, I put that strip around. You didn't see it opening up. It was light, right? Oh, man. Got one more push in there. All I'm going to get. But I want to get a bit more detail on that. It's blacker. Oh. It's not a bad start, I suppose. Nice with a little light though. Probably should have left this higher. Just lift that higher. Interesting. Oh. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut one with a bit less material around it again and just see whether we get less gather up like that. I know there's going to be some, but yeah, probably what I should have done is probably shouldn't have turned this off and left it a bit wider, but because it would have formed the shape better. I think we'll get it, but it's going to be not as easy as I was hoping. It was going to press it, and get a pretty clean shape. But yeah, just obviously with being wood, it's not hard enough. But like it's forming it, but it's not as nice as I would hope it could have been. You know what I mean? But we'll get there. We'll get there. We'll persevere. We might just do one more. It's a little bit smaller in diameter again. Just see how it forms. Right guys, so I've cut a small one. Now I'm going to pre-start bending this. I'm going to do this with my little bending stick and go around the circle and just see how far I can get this before it starts distorting. Well, this is a trick that you can use on a lot of edges of things, and you can get it and it will kind of pre-shrink itself without that bad pucker up. I'm just trying to get so we're not having quite so many bad puckers to try and hammer out and get nice, I guess, because it's not going to, I probably should have left that form quite deep. That might have ended up with a better result. It's just one of those things you learn as you do stuff like this, I might go through it in there. I don't think it's going to work as much as I would like to, but we'll have another play. We'll give it another wee push. I'll come back to you when I've done it. Right. It's going to be quite a bit of work. I cut the centre of this roughly to try and get it to push down in there further, and it did. But I think these might be a bit tight to get it the full depth out of these dies. I just haven't got quite enough clearance, I don't think. So yeah, I think, but this one here, unfortunately, when I cut a bit thinner, there's just a couple of spots where it's just, I don't know, I'll have a bit more of a play, but I just haven't got quite enough material down the sides. It needs to be at least that deep. I might better stretch it round, but I think I might I need to get a couple of bits of nylon or something like that I can use for what they're called, is it dapping tools or whatever they are. So I can come in here with a hammer behind it and just work it into all these corners and stuff like this, and get all these edges way sharper than they need to be, or sharp as they need to be. And then also here, where is it? There's a piece over here. So around here I started hammering the edge over more. So I need to do a bit more, quite a bit of that too, to try and get this just a better, harder edge, something a little bit more like that. I tried to make that shape in here. It's not really, but it is. And this is actually, I didn't realise that, but it's actually all gone out of shape. It's not flat anymore. You see that? So yeah, this is when I've been pressing on it. I didn't realise that, just looked at that. Yeah, so I'm not really going to get any more than this one made. I wondered why that was all wonky, and I just thought, oh, maybe just because I hadn't pressed in there properly, but yeah, it's deformed it. Wow. just nailed it. I blackened it both sides and then I heated it up on the inside until basically most of the carbon burnt off. It's still warm, so I'll let it cool down for a bit longer, and then I'll have another go at hammering, just see if it'll help gather up. See if it'll, form its shape a bit better, work a bit nicer. Because it has got to gather a lot of material in, and that'll also help it from me beating on it and not splitting it. It's just about almost cold enough, not quite. Right, I actually just realised I screwed the wrong one there for a start. That was good. But, so yeah, we're getting there with this, but I finally have the clutch bearing. So that's the original one. This is one that we just got. It is very marginally taller. If you can see that. Where are we? You can see it's a little bit higher, and it's very, very slightly bigger in diameter, marginally. Hopefully it'll fit. We can make it fit, because it's the only thing we can find apart from getting one made like this, or stripping this one apart and putting new bearings in it, and cleaning up the rest of it, if you know what I mean. And praying it's okay. Like it doesn't feel that bad, but it's a little bit grainy feeling. The only thing that worries me about this one is you can see the ball bearings in this. And when it sits in this housing, that's not covered, but there is, you are sitting on the inner sleeve. If I can gearbox. So down here, and that will get lubrication, a little bit of lubrication will come out of there, as this is running backwards and forwards. So it is going to get some oil in there, but I just don't know. Just with that being exposed like that, is it going to get it full of shit and fail quicker? I don't know. So, anyway, I'm going to take this down to the local engineers and get them to make it fit in here. One thing we might do too is, because it is a little bit deeper, is maybe just take a light skim out of the bottom too, just a touch, just to drop it in there a little bit. Just that way, yeah. I just hope it's not too big. Weaken it. I might make them spin this off and just put a, see if I maybe put a little band on there over top, just to help strengthen it. Maybe just true this up and just leave a touch of the shoulder, and then just put a little metal band around there, just spin it up and put one over top, just to help give it a little bit of strength, maybe. Yeah, that's all we can find, and it is the right style of bearing. And we do have a spare. So yeah, this is what they were, and that's part number D22. We'll go get one of those fitted. And we might put this fucking car together. And I've got my little clips for the lights. I can make that little clip for the light. Sorry. Put all that in there. And we'll take that down to the thing. But yeah, I'll just do a little bit more work on this before I go do that. I'm trying to make it so I can maybe push this in a little bit around here. I'm getting fairly close. I've got a bit of trimming to do. I actually would like to, I think unfortunately, I've probably just made this slightly too small on the inside diameter here. So here, look, it doesn't really line up with how it should. That piece there should be over top of that, but it's not. I don't think it will matter, but it's just annoying because I can't get that shape into it like how I'd like to. I might have to just beat that back out maybe. But it's fitting in there pretty good. If I beat that back flat, I might be able to just get that in there a little bit further. There's a couple spots where it's just borderline too shallow. It's not bad. Like I can manipulate it a little bit yet. You know what I mean? But I think if I can round that out somehow. So I don't think I can even get it in here anymore, can I? Yes, it's too tight for in there. Oh. Yeah, this possibly could have just been a sneak. It could have been a sneak larger. Maybe. Or this could have been slightly further out or something. But you know, it's one of those things, you know, it's like freaking. If you had a CNC plotter, you probably could have plotted that ring and then machined it in there, but you know, I'm doing it by eye and measurements and whatever. But yeah, with a bit more finishing work, we're not far away. Also got to trim this down, this lip down flat, basically. It doesn't really stick up a touch. So we're going to grind that down a bit more, clean it up a bit more on the edges, and then just dial in and try and get it cleaned up and smoothed out without breaking through, and just get it hammered out nicer. Anyway, I'm going to go for lunch. So we'll see you after lunch. That's where we're at. Alright guys, so I'm definitely not finished by any stretch of the imagination, but we are kind of close to, we've got the lenses basically fitting like in the openings now. Like I've had to do a bit of work to get them to the right, I guess size, I guess you'd call it. Just opening the holes up till everything fitted properly. Big of a thing, to be honest. The way it works, because the glass just sort of floats around in there until it's, and it is glass, until you get everything sort of situated. So it's lined up there, Arco. And then it doesn't really hold together until you put the actual frickin' screws in it, too, which is the worst thing. I'm half tempted to make some little, tack some little tabs in there or something so the glass can't float around the same, especially this one here, because it is like partly broken, but it's okay. Like it's good enough, hopefully, to do what it needs to do and pass the safety check, because man, it's not going to be much fun trying to find one of those. You could probably make one out of plastic if you really had to. But so, yeah. Got a lot of finishing work to do in here to try and get rid of the marks out, but we've got it pretty reasonable at this point. And then obviously the clear glass goes down here for the number plate. and obviously these here are so that all holds it in, if you know what I mean. Once you get everything all lined up and aimed in the right direction and whatever. Yeah, so we are there. Just a little bit of dressing up. Make sure it is a little bit more even on the bottom. I have got one piece that's very, very slightly, not quite deep enough. It's almost, but not quite. Unfortunately, it's sort of down the bottom of the light, so it's not going to stick out too much. Because, yeah, I don't really want to make another one. I did try to stretch material this way a bit. Funnily enough, it didn't want to stretch that way, even though you're trying to shrink it in. You think it would grow this way, but it doesn't. It just gets thicker. I just thought it might have grown a little in that direction, but it might have a little, but it's borderline. It's right there, but it's not quite. It's like the only spot that's like that. Everything else is about perfect, or just slightly over. Now I've ground it partly flat, not 100%. You know what I mean? Because obviously there's more, a little bit more hammering and whatever to try and get it to finish up. But yeah, so we're there, almost there. Just a lot of sanding and whatever, and trying to get this the best we can. But yeah, I am sick of standing in one spot a lot, mucking around with it all, hammering and playing. And fortunately, I actually, to get that lens there to fit, I got the biggest socket in my big Koken metric Imperial and Whitworth socket, the biggest Whitworth socket, which is actually the biggest one in it. I jammed that through there, and that was just perfect enough to get this to sit in there. It could probably just be a little bit more open, but it's almost dead on, if you know what I mean. I might just have to run the little drum sander around here just a couple of times on the die grinder, just to make it fit dead perfect, but it's pretty close. Pretty wrapped with it, to be honest. Like, it's come out when you first initially start hammering it over, and you think, oh, I just wish I made that buck slightly bigger in here, so I could have got this edge better, because it is slightly smaller. I've got a funny spot down here, but there's not much I can do about it. I'll try and make it look the best I can, but it's because it's sort of, we're out by probably a couple of mil down here. You can actually see where that sits underneath here. It's sitting here instead of here, so that's where the wooden mould was. But yeah, I've tried to hammer it across to get it to sit better, and it was funny enough, it's actually in that spot where it's a bit thin. So if I had that probably over, I probably wouldn't have that problem. But yeah, I could make another one, but it's a fucking lot of work to get it that far. It really is. And it is kind of down the bottom. So again, like as much as I'd like it to be perfect, yeah, we'll keep playing, and we'll see if we can get it to sort of hide itself, if you know what I mean. But we'll get it all cleaned up and buffed up and polished, and hopefully it won't show too much. You know, and if we happen to find the real thing, like a good one, somewhere along the line, we can always change that, keep that as a spare. because it's a lot of work to remake all that shit to make it just that little bit bigger. Anyway, yeah, we'll come back tomorrow. I'll see what the time is, but yeah, probably come back tomorrow and we'll spend, hopefully, maybe another half a day if I can get it cleaned up. Because I did start hammering this a little bit from the inside to try and bring some of these lower spots back up so I could hammer them back flat again. My biggest problem is I'm very limited of what I can get in here to work on it successfully, if you know what I mean. If it's something that was really close to that radius. I did try to open that bearing shell up, but it just, yeah, too awkward. Too awkward to work with. The only thing I've got that's close is this. It's close, but not really close enough, if you know what I mean. It's all right. It just would be nice if it was actually touching, even if it was that much of it. If I had quite a, you could probably really planish it round, but because you're only really touching a very small section, like you might be touching that much if you're lucky, whereas if you were touching even, you know, a fifth or a sixth of it, had a piece that we could touch the fifth or a sixth of it that was the right, close to the right radius, you'd better work backwards and forwards and hammer a lot of this out. Easier, I think. But we'll keep working on it. We're close. Morning, guys. So welcome back to NZ Mopo Outlaw Kustoms again. So this morning I'm going to try and get these out of, do some of these little marks out of here, try and get this sort of finished off if I can, as close as I can. Now, what I've done, added just some random junk and some old bearings out of the gearbox and a few of the funny things. I've made a really, really rough English wheel miniature version, mainly because I'm trying to flatten this off, and I haven't really got anything else I can work it around. So I got an old frickin' hinge I found in here, a couple bits of angle on, welded these two old bearings to here. I'm just going to clamp on here for a bit of pressure, and just trying to see if I can get it to work properly. I might make it a little bit less frickin' hillbilly and make it sort of half decent. Maybe put a bit of all thread here with a spring on it and a couple of nuts so you can wind a bit of tension on. But yeah, I'm just trying to see if I can use it to just help smooth out this outer ring, if you know what I mean. Because this is the piece you see. Just keep rolling around and just see if it smooths it up, you know. That's all I can do. See if it works. This is the number 8 wire English wheel. mini English wheel. Made it of a couple bearings. Oh, it's hard working. But anyway, I'll keep working. can actually see the shiny spots where I'm touching the aluminium or aluminum, and you can see just where it's not in some places. So I'll keep doing that, and then I'll probably sand it back a couple of times and then maybe do it again, just until we get rid of those marks. It's a bit like the ones around here that I haven't quite got rid of yet. The English wheel little bearing thing definitely helps smooth it out, but I'll probably have to sand it a couple of times and then may have to do it again, if you know what I mean. I might even have to sand it a little bit on the inside to try and smooth it out and roll it around that wheel just so it's not pushing from the other side as well, but it's working. And then we'll have to try and come in here and just see if we can fix a couple of little marks in here that I've got from hammering in here. It's just all the detail work that takes time, but you know, we end up with a pretty nice piece that most people won't know wasn't the original. So we'll just keep going on. But yeah, we'll give old Ralfy a bit of a shout out here. He's builds a lot of bikes and bits and pieces, builds frames, custom stuff, whatever. Clever guy over in the UK, Ralfy's Kustoms. Go look him up. I'm getting close to getting all those marks out of there now on this piece. I'm not worried about this at the moment, just trying to get this right. Just about got it. I've hammered and sanded and hammered and sanded a few times just to try and get the blemishes out of it. There's still a few, but I think we're getting close enough now that maybe one more time of hammering, once I've sanded this a bit more, it should be enough. Then I think I'll get this piece right and we'll work in here, and then we'll try and see if we can start sanding through some grades and see what it looks like. See if we can get it up to, you know, a reasonable half polished state and see what it looks like. I might have to do a little bit of work on here and here yet, but fortunately a lot of that you're not looking direct at, it's down lowish, so like I don't have to be quite as fussy in here. You don't really see, you do but you don't, you know what I mean. Right, we'll just get down here a little bit, bring the angle a touch closer. So when I'm hitting this thing, I'm not going like that. I'm not hitting direct. It's a glancing blow. Everything you do when you're panel beating, unless it's a spot that you can't get to, or you're trying to drive maybe an edge and like that sort of thing, unless you're trying to drive something into a corner, 9 times out of 10, well probably 19 times out of 20, yeah, going with that. Otherwise you're putting dents in it. You're doing a glancing blow, trying to plenish. And I know, I used to do that for a start off. I used to do that. It works, but it doesn't work. I think you end up stretching steel instead of planishing it and smoothing it out. You end up stretching, but you might make that piece flat, but you've stretched it and you've created another rip on it, if you know what I mean. You're not trying to stretch, you're just trying to plenish. You know, you obviously are stretching, but you're not, if you're hitting dead down all the time, you're putting a lot more force into it and you're stretching it faster. because this is you're trying to planish it and flatten it before you stretch it. So any great method, unless you're really trying to stretch it, and then you might do that, if you know what I mean. Alrighty guys, so I'm not quite done, if you know what I mean. It needs a bit more of a sand up and a polish up and clean up in places, but it's good enough for the meantime and to show you the sort of the final result. So yeah, looks quite good. You can actually see the Studebaker stop through it, which is quite cool. But yeah, that's basically it finished. Obviously needs a wee bit more sanding in here and a bit more cleanup, and just a bit more of a gentle polish up, just get it a bit more even. I just quickly run the buffalo over it to get an idea what it looks like, so it just needs a little bit more detailing, but that's pretty much it done. I'm pretty wrapped. You know, it would have been nice to have that extra lip in it. I was trying to do that, but just unfortunately with having that in a ring just a little bit tight, we just couldn't quite get it to work. So that's why I hammered it out. I thought, well, nobody's really going to know. No. And I don't think anybody will really care. You know, it's unfortunate that glass is a little bit chipped, but with a little bit of jiggling, and then once it's all tightened up and everything, hopefully we can get it so it doesn't shine any light through. Otherwise it won't pass inspection here when it first goes back on the road. But it'll be right once we get it all sorted, get down to the final nitty-gritty, so we can carry on now with the rest of the light. Next week, get the rest of it all cleaned up and painted and get it ready for painting, because that'll be 2-pack obviously. Yeah, and we'll sort the rest of it out, tidy up all the inside of it, and see if we can find some little bits to repair the God, I've got that much crap sitting here. I have to have a clean up Monday morning. Where's the rest of the bloody thing? Got it sitting here somewhere. Oh, there, fucking tripods on top of it. Now there's the light bulb holders. That one there's fine, but obviously it's, you know, that's missing. I have got some bits, funny bits and pieces floating around here. I might better find something to make something work. But yeah, I want to pull that off, clean all this up, paint it all. I'll probably paint it silver or something, so it reflects light too. But yeah, it's basically done. The trim anyway, just a little bit of, probably another, I don't know, an hour-ish, bit of clean up and whatever, and just get it really dialed in. But I'll just take the light and everything out of it. So yeah, really stoked with how it's come out. There is the odd little mark in it still. I may have another go at sanding it again. But yeah, I think that most people will probably never know that I hand made that now once I've got that finished. So yeah, but yeah, you can see all the evidence on the inside. But yeah, see where it's been hammered and shrunk, and it's amazing. You wouldn't know from the outside, just about. I'm actually stoked. Like, it's amazing what something will come up like just with perseverance and a fuck a lot of patience. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. does not cost you a thing. If you're not subscribed, please do. Yeah, just give us a thumbs up, leave a comment, you know, even if it's just a thumbs up in the comments or something like that, or, you know, nice job or whatever. Really appreciate if you do those sorts of things. Also, please go over to Outlaw Edge, which is Minnesota Outlaw Kustoms, Arco's channel, and Ironhead Garage's channel, and Iron Outlaws, which is the combination of the three of us when we eventually get some more stuff done together. And there's a few others as well. Ralfy from Ralfy's Kustoms, Dan from DG Retro Kustoms. Oh, there's a whole list of other people, but yeah, but a few. Joel from Bad Hombre. A lot of you probably know Brent from Halfass Kustoms. He's now got a second channel. Make It Custom. These are all awesome channels. God, there's so many of them. It's hard to remember at the time. But yeah, the old Paracow store here in New Zealand, way up north. They're also always doing good content. Martin from Slow Shop and Kuston over in Sweden. They just done a little series on their what do they call themselves? Scandinavian Roadster Club or whatever it is. They just done a little race series, like 3 or 4 videos he's put up. It was quite really cool. It's quite interesting watching these sort of stuff. What they do. He speaks a lot of it in English, but obviously there's a lot of people around him that are talking in different languages. So sometimes it's a bit hard to pick up exactly what's going on, but Martin explains most things, so it's pretty easy to pick up. So yeah, but there's lots of really wicked channels out there. But yeah, please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers. Yep.